What's up, guys? Today we are talking about the Dragon Krystals. We will be covering what they're used for, how useful they are, and how to get as many of them as physically possible. So without any further ado, let's quickly explain the general purpose of the Dragon Krystals. More or less, this is a currency that is used to open specific packs called caskets. Those caskets can only drop gold or diamond characters that you do not own yet, or if you own all characters, then they will only drop cards that you don't have maxed out. The same thing applies to gears. You can buy caskets for rare or epic tower or crypt gear that you either don't have or you don't have maxed out. All said before means that the Dragon Krystals are exceptionally useful, and this begs the question: how do you get them? Well, there are a couple of ways, but the general answer will be make sure to actively play all game modes in MK Mobile. Let's break this down. Probably the easiest way to obtain Dragon Krystals is by selling back gear or characters obtained more or less anywhere, from packs or from drops in towers and crypt all the way to Faction Wars season rewards. In other words, everywhere. Logically, the higher the rarity of the character or the equipment, the more crystals you will get. For instance, selling back a basic gold gives you just 3 Dragon Krystals, while selling back a diamond, 12. Same logic applies to the equipment sellbacks. However, you will only receive crystals from tower or crypt gear sellbacks. Regular legacy gears or Faction Wars epics just rewards coins on sellback. There are 2 drawbacks to this method though. The first one is the fact that if you have just started the game and you don't know basically what to do, you won't be getting any sellbacks as you won't be having maxed out characters in the first place. The only way you can get these Dragon Krystals for sellback is if you have the gear or the character at Fusion X. The second one lies in the fact that the amount of Dragon Krystals you can get using this method of sellback is limited to only 30 per day. The moment you reach that threshold, the sellbacks stop giving you Dragon Krystals until the next day when the timer resets and the limit you can get gets refreshed as well. So in a way, you can get only 30 per day by selling back gear and equipment. The next way of obtaining Dragon Krystals is season ranking in Faction Wars. The higher you rank, the more Dragon Krystals you get. For instance, if you rank in Contender Elite, you get 8 Dragon Krystals. If you rank in Champion, you get 10. Master gives you 12. All the way to Legend, and Legend rewards you with 20 Dragon Krystals. So if you assume that you rank every season somewhere in the middle, let's say Champion, you will get extra 20 crystals per week, with absolute limit being 40 per week if you manage to rank in Legend every single season, assuming that you can do 2 Faction Wars season in a week. So 40 is the absolute limit that you can get if you are running survival mode a lot and if you rank in Legend every single season. You can also obtain Dragon Krystals if you are grinding the Crypt as well. There is a chance that you obtain 5 Dragon Krystals in the blue chest, and if you are super lucky, you can get 10 crystals from the purple chests. However, this doesn't happen every time, and sometimes you can open 5 or 6 of those without getting anything. By my rough calculations, we can assume that every Elder run in the Crypt on average gives you 5 Dragon Krystals. Sometimes it will not give you anything for 3 consecutive runs, but sometimes it will give you 10 crystals for 2 runs in a row. It is all random, but it is kind of safe to assume that 5 crystals per run is achievable. So if you're doing 2 Elder Crypt runs every day, you can expect to get up to 10 Dragon Krystals per day, and let's round it up to 70 per week from the Crypt. And of course, if you're grinding like crazy, and I mean crazy, like 3, 4, even 5 runs, you can expect something like 100, even 120 Dragon Krystals every week only from Crypt chests. Let's talk about towers. Towers are very important. I'm talking about both normal and fatal towers because they both give you Dragon Krystals on completion. Normal towers will give you 10. If you click on the tower rewards, you can see that on completion you're going to get 10 Dragon Krystals, and fatal towers give you 20. This means that if you're running both and you are able to complete them both in 1 week, you can obtain extra 30 Dragon Crystals every week. And in the case that we have 2 normal towers and 1 fatal tower active, the total goes up to 40 per week. Another thing that you must consider while doing towers is the fact that you can get a lot of character sellbacks on the way to battle 200. So grinding towers only for Dragon Crystals can be quite rewarding, even for people that have more or less every single character maxed out. After all, the more Dragon Crystals, the better. Another way to get Dragon Crystals for free is to complete the tasks of the Combat Pass. Once completed, tier 34 will give you 150 Dragon Crystals, which is huge. Now, if you do some calculations, if you consider that each Battle Pass season is available for about 50 days, this means that the Battle Pass gives you roughly, on average, 3 crystals per day, bringing a weekly total of 20 per week. Also, if you pay the price for the upgraded Combat Pass on tier 54, you get additional 250 Dragon Crystals, which is still very substantial. In my opinion, those 250 kind of make the Combat Pass worth considering. It is still not a must-buy thing, but at least it isn't terrible. And the last way of obtaining Dragon Crystals is doing challenges, though you won't get much in the end. You can obtain up to 7 Dragon Crystals if you complete Elder Challenge. Also, do not forget that if you have the character maxed out, the character who has the challenge, you will also benefit of the sellbacks on the way to Elder Challenge, so make sure to do challenges every single time when you can. So, with all that said, what is the absolute maximum of Dragon Crystals that you can get if you run every tower, if you grind the Crypt like crazy, if you complete every day 30 sellback limit, and if you rank in Legend in Faction Wars every season? Well, if you do all of those things, you can get something between 400 and 450 Dragon Crystals every week, which is huge, but it comes pricey in terms of the time invested. And let's be real, this can be achieved only by veteran players or by whales or both. I believe that if you are a veteran player and if you play the game reasonable time every day, and by that I mean if you run 2 towers, if you rank around champion in Faction Wars, and if you do both free Crypt runs, you can get Dragon Crystals in the range between 300 and 350 every week, which again is not that bad. This basically means that you are getting 1 diamond every 10 days or 1 epic every week. However, if you are a complete beginner or you just started playing a few months ago, you won't be able to generate a lot of Dragon Crystals due to the simple fact that the main source of them, the sellbacks, will not work for you. In order to take advantage of that, you must have a lot of characters maxed out. And if this doesn't apply to you, you can probably end up with something like 50 to 100 Dragon Crystals per week. If this is your case, don't get discouraged. The Dragon Crystals are the ultimate endgame currency and you eventually will get there. Just be patient. Alright guys, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and have an amazing rest of your day. Take care guys.
Perfect.